Oh, yeah. Merry Comic Book Day and Happy New Year. Thank you to Bad Mary for that too sweet playing. And welcome to USComicsCast, Chapter 2, Episode 1, 2 topics, 60 minutes for the people. I'm John Rivera, the CEO and co-founder of US Comics.
And if he's the CEO, the only title I could think of assigning myself was the COO. I am Charlie Rivera. I am co-founder.
It is well earned.
I am hanging on desperately to the title of youngest 35-year-old in the universe. They call me Charlie, a.k.a. Sizzle Dog, a.k.a. the other child, formerly known as, also as well as, very much me. That is all canonical now.
Sizzle Dog? Did you authorize Sizzle Dog? I'm asking my actual dogs if they authorized Sizzle Dog. I certainly did not, sir. But you know what, though? It's still technically the holiday season. Three Kings Day is not yet upon us. So this is another gift from me to you. I will allow for this week only Sizzle Dog to actually be a thing. Charlie.
Hey, man.
Happy New Year, sucker.
Happy New Year. We
made it.
We got to spend New Year's together.
We did.
COVID tests, a very long drive for you, and at least one bottle of a little bit of the bubbly.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of fire water, a little bit of bubbly to quench it.
A little bit of fire water went a long way this year.
It really did.
I didn't drink nearly as much as years past, and I was
as much as you remember. Like, let's be honest. I mean, there's no real accounting for. There was nobody counting bottles around Charlie Sizzle Dog.
There it is.
Good
now,
Lord.
So I'm gonna capture that audio forever. You know, I needed
that trick again, huh? That old chestnut.
Oh, don't worry, that's coming soon.
Yeah.
What's amazing is like New Year's is it's a very emotional time for family, made even more so emotional by that tremendous season finale of Mandalorian.
Oh, Jon Favreau, God love you, but God damn you. Who would have thought
what the hell
my crusty, crinkly, antique heartstrings could just be worked like a little Grogu puppet. Good Lord Almighty. Good Lord, Jon Favreau, what did I do to you? Besides just giving you all the money that I had in my possession to make you treat me the way you did, to put me on the emotional roller coaster that you have. What's the deal, dude?
I don't even understand. So the thing I've been trying desperately to come to terms with, and there's a lot, and somehow none of it's my sexuality. Somehow I locked on to that, super young. I've never loved Star Wars the way I've kind of wanted to love Star Wars. Star Wars has always been this like amazingly cool thing, but like even visually, it's not the Millennium Falcon I loved the most. It's not even Han Solo's amazing blaster. Like one of my favorite aspects of my Funko collection is
I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'm coming.
Just
come on,
your heart, grab it.
Come on.
I have this amazing chunk of my Funko collection that's just different awesome stormtroopers, and like stormtroopers are the shittiest part of Star Wars. Not style wise, they're styling as hell in their white.
Yeah, no, they look good.
That armor.
They don't care how late after Labor Day it is. They are wearing white to any function that they go to, and you're just gonna have to deal with it,
dude. But what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have done is make me, with every fiber of my being, love Star Wars. And it's not even like love some of it. I've never been more excited to see lightsabers swinging. I've never been more excited to see alien species, and get out of here with the fact that in 2021, I sit before these lovely people and my dear brother and my favorite part of Star Wars, of all of Star Wars, is fucking the Mandalorians?
Listen,
Boba
like
Jango Fett.
like the most hated celebrity in Charlie and Kevin Smith's menu. Like he said it best in the undeniably most Christmassy of Christmas movies. Welcome to the party, pal. Welcome. It's never too late to jump on the Star Wars bandwagon. And this is what's interesting to me, which, let's face it, is probably the most important thing. Mandalorian has accomplished many, many things, right? It's introduced, like Charlie said, it's reignited the flames of amor for lifetime Star Wars fans like myself. It has reinvigorated the tepid flames of love in somebody like Charlie's heart. It has brought new fans to the fray who never ever had an invite or wanted an invite to the particular party. It has accomplished a lot. Something that we've spoken about here, and we've talked about Mandalorian for week upon week upon week. Mandalorian, something that has no comic book origin to speak of whatsoever, didn't make a difference. We could not help ourselves from talking about what was happening on damn Disney Plus on a week by week basis. That being said, something that I've talked about pretty loudly, with Charlie nodding his head in agreement, is that Boba Fett was almost exclusively a fuck up. I'm so sorry to the Boba Fett lovers out there, and we're on record, episode God knows which.
Awesome. I've dated
Boba Fett.
You love Boba Fett because that's a dope look.
I mean, look, Boba Fett. He even had it working in his first appearance as a cartoon in the Christmas special. He full on pulled the Harley Quinn. He's like, "Hey, look at me! Look at this rifle! Isn't it goofy looking? I bet you wonder what's going on there." Like he captured people's attention. I get it, but in the original trilogy, he did less than Dick. If he did anything, he was fucking it up. Basically, the best that he did was act as a space FedEx driver. He transported Han Solo and Carbonite from point A to point B, but he didn't catch him. It took my man Darth to catch him. So I was loudly on record as saying Boba Fett ain't shit. But the reason I was doing so was because in the comic books, there was at least the flirting of a redemption for him. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe he can do some shit. You know that he at least evaporated some damn body, right? He did something at some point for Vader to be like, you know what, dude, you're all right by me. Come on, bring your dented ass over here. But Mandalorian has redeemed Boba Fett like nothing else could.
And it took 12 minutes of screen.
He just shows up dressed in black, full dad bod in the desert, and he was making it work. But I mean, like I was literally watching it, loving it, but at the same time shocked. I was like, they fucking redeemed Boba Fett, and they did it. And how?
To the point where, so not to bury the lead about how much crying I did in the goddamn finale, like I had a skid knee and whatnot. But when they did the trailer, Book of Fett pre-Mandalorian is such a bad idea. I would have spent an entire segment on this show poo-pooing it.
Yeah.
I would have spent this huge amount of energy
terrible
building up like I'm building Death Star 3. I would have spent time, money, resources to build up a diatribe about how lazy it is, and you can't just take something from the past, repack. Oh, I'm sorry, John, sorry, Dave. It turns out I'm a fucking idiot.
Oh, I'm a moron. Okay, cool. I don't know shit. I should just sit here and shut the fuck up. You got okay.
The rumor I read this week, and maybe it's been confirmed that I'm just looking at old pages. It was a holiday after all. Quit breaking my balls, internet. that Robert Rodriguez is like possibly going to direct all of them. Like this is his vehicle. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
After I saw,
I neither have heard it or believe it, to be totally frank.
maybe he's just directing an episode.
I
But
can see him directing an episode for sure. Because look, Favreau has done a few things expertly, undeniably well. First and foremost, he has navigated the minefield of Kathleen Kennedy because she seems bound and determined to mess up stuff that we love, right?
yeah,
We don't need to go into it because I don't like to live in negativity.
I will say this: Mandalorian has managed to introduce one of the coolest female characters, and by one I mean, oh wait, it's like,
Yeah, like
four.
look, and this is something that as it was happening, I was literally making a mental note. I'm like, I've got to bring this up. There is a moment, and again, spoiler alert, I guess. If you're listening or watching this, but you haven't already finished the second season of Mandalorian, shame on you. Shame.
Dude,
You shouldn't watch Mando. You should go to church, apologize for not watching Mando yet, then go back and watch Mando. Then you can come back and listen to the rest of this shit.
But seriously, let this play, you pieces of crap.
Yeah,
you need the
but
view. In fact, while you're waiting, you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, do it now.
And you leave a comment.
Do it while you're at church and tell the people sitting. You're like, hey, while you're kneeling down there, go ahead. Can you just like and subscribe to this? Thanks.
Yeah, leave a quick 5-star review on iTunes.
But yeah, there was this moment where on screen, your screen, 65 inches from corner to corner of pure female badassery. There wasn't a Schwartz to be found on screen. If you had like those weird 4 binoculars that in Star Wars land they just seem to give out for free. Every damn body's got these amazing binoculars. Do you know anybody in real life that owns binoculars? No. At best, I could point you to like one of those coin ops where you can like go and definitely get COVID straight to your face because nobody's wiping down anything. Anyways, but what was I saying? Was the fact that here's all these female characters, exclusively female characters, kicking ass, not even bother to taking names because they ain't calling any of these losers after the fact. And they were just like, there it is, right? Yeah. Here it is. Here is something that people have been talking about, and you didn't need to be literally waving a flag, stomping your feet, making some kind of like stupid off-color comment like, that's how the girls do it. Like, no, asshole, just go in, kick ass, and go about your business. That's how you make change, right? Well, and as part of a smaller group of people, it would have been exactly the same. I would have had the exact same feeling if it was all Puerto Rican actors, or if it was all male romantic leads, 5'10" or under. Like any particular group that you wanted to that I feel a connection with, I would have had that same warmth in my heart over seeing it on screen in that fashion. I mean, this is something that Favreau and his core of storytellers does masterfully. It's awesome. And again, I could see something like I would watch a whole show of those 4 freaking characters running around the universe, beating the hell out of everybody that comes across their path. That was outstanding.
You know, the one thing I particularly loved about it on my like 3rd viewing, they did a very good job of like the first time we met the other Mandalorians in like the you know, our night owls.
Yeah,
there was a dude.
There were 2 dudes.
Like they were busy.
There were 2 guys.
Venture, I guarantee, because they wanted this one shot, and it's very interesting because there's always those debates about like when you make something political or when you give someone a little bit of medicine with their candy, like you say. There's
Never
always
said that.
Well, I'm gonna on it anyway on the back.
Definitely mangle that saying. I'm not gonna allow you to blame me.
Sorry. There's always this thing of like, oh, who cares? As a dude, I was excited for the little girl watching that scene and said, I could be that chick. I
Yeah.
could be that chick. I could be that. Oh, I could be the alien Jedi.
As a storyteller, who, when you sit down and you try to determine ways, you want to be inclusive, you want to be representative, you want to speak to all audiences, right? So sometimes coming from a different place, it doesn't come automatically, it doesn't come naturally. Sometimes you have to sit down and write down, figure the math out. You got to carry the one, and pi is 3.14, and all that nonsense. And you have to figure out, okay, how can I accomplish the end goal? Because it's not just that I've personally never done it before. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Right. So we've made it a point, and I'll speak for you as well, because I know that it's true.
And
like we've made it a point where we've included characters for US Comics that we have never seen on the printed page, or circumstances that the characters are going to go through that we've never seen on the printed page. Whatever the case might be, certain things that are brand new to the world, obviously they haven't made it to the printed page yet. So what do? You sit down and you try to Stephen King it? You're like, okay, so the ghost comes out and the vampire farts it out and then the werewolf eats him. And because that doesn't have any connection to anything. When you don't know, you reach out. You're like, hey, you belong to this particular group. Hey, you've personally had this situation. That's when you do your homework. They clearly have done their homework, and it's for a fictional fucking world. There you see how much they care. And I'll give you full credit, Charlie. You said it best. When something is a passion project, you see it in every frame. You see it in every page. You see it everywhere. It's floating in the air. You could smell it. You could if you close your eyes and the sun is beating, ooh, just a little tingles. Ooh, it's something good.
Well, it's the interesting. It's one of my favorite writers, Max Landis, writes some of these stories that I don't like decisions he makes. But I love how much he loves the decision he made.
Right.
It's like at this point, I feel like this particular half of the Star Wars creators, because that's what it is. There's this very obvious line in the sand of what someone wants Star Wars to be and someone else showing what Star Wars is to them. And those don't seem so diametrically opposed, but they are, because one takes things that exist and makes them better. I love Boba Fett. Why does he suck so bad? How do we make him cool in 30 minutes or less? And they're able to do it. I'm positive that if C3PO showed up, he'd have a bandana and a Gatling gun, and he'd be the coolest sumbitch ever. Just kind of.
What's funny to me is, look at a character like the IG robot.
Oh my God!
The IG robot had a redemption arc that was if you had gotten him to piss, you would have missed the redemption arc. Yeah. He went from the worst son of a bitch ever, trying to kill Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, to being his protector, self-sacrifice. If this had been Constantine and the devil all muddy, foot was trying to drag him to hell, like robot hell. There's a robot devil, as we've come to learn from Bender. There must be a robot heaven, right? He would have gone to robot heaven for that self-sacrifice. That's awesome.
I had a personal grudge from the IG-88, who he wasn't, but he was just like IG-88, obviously, from Shadows of the Empire. Fighting some bitch was the biggest pain in the ass.
Oof. We almost didn't make this recording because Charlie was still on that board trying to beat that some bitch.
I stand by the fact the N64 controller is the worst, best thing ever. But the last thing I'll say about it, and then we'll, I guess, start the show. You're welcome, listeners and viewers. what's very interesting is a comment you made a few days ago. And if you're looking at Star Wars right now, as much as some creators and some people in charge may want the Force to be female, and part of me wants that too. I love groups feeling empowered. It's looking real Latin lately. That's all I'm maybe a topic
It's a
for
valid point. It's a valid point. Well, you know what? Before I steer the ship in a different direction, because this is literally just catch up at this point. One of the things that really struck me, I don't know if you've had the opportunity. Obviously, you've watched multiple episodes several times over, if not all of them. Have you caught most of or any of the I think they call it gallery on Disney Plus, like the in essence the making of the show.
Season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet.
All right, so it's outstanding. I would highly recommend anybody who even likes Mandalorian to watch this, because it may it may increase your feelings for it. If you love it like we do, it's mandatory. You have to watch it, not just because of kind of how they accomplish the things, but why they do certain things. And I won't delve into that, because again, Mandalorian, as awesome as it is, has zero comic book influence to begin with. So it really doesn't belong in this forum, but we love it. So we're gonna do what we want to say.
When you want to do that Mandalorian comic book, I know a company that'll happily be. I also would like everyone to meet to my Grogu, little baby Raff.
Baby Raff. Just adorable. Just look at that grimace. Like father, like son. Holy shit. But what I was saying just before
they've taken this character.
Just
so grumpy.
Just before we wrap it up, one of the things that you really do notice is that, again, Favreau, he's brilliant. He can do no wrong, in my esteemed opinion, if I do say so myself, and I do, and only I do. But also, as well as, he has surrounded himself with this amazing collection of talent. And it's not just him going to war. It's not even just him and Filoni and George Lucas arm in arm skipping down the yellow brick road like, damn, they were going to Oz. It's not that. He has assembled this collection of talent. And it's funny because the feeling that you get from the show, just as a show, never mind the outstanding original music, never mind the Western feel of it all, right? Never mind the explicit Kurosawa references that we're getting like on a week-to-week basis. But the thing, the truly Kurosawa thing that really sticks to me is assembling, and it mimics the show, because Mando, as badass and as awesome as he is, Beskar armor just having lasers bounce off him right and left. He's in the show assembling a team to accomplish together what none of them could accomplish individually. And that's the same thing that Favreau is doing. And also, as well as, again, he's doing it with a diverse group. He's not doing it with miniature Favreaus, right? Because we have Favreau's voice and we love it, granted, but we don't need it to be replicated. What would multiple Favreaus echoing one another? No, he does it by surrounding himself with creators of different backgrounds, of different creeds, of different colors, of different sexes, of different perspectives. That's true genius. It's not just knowing what you know, it's knowing what you don't know, but can appreciate, and you value, and you put it all on the table, because again, the whole is never how does it go exactly? The whole is greater than the sum of the parts it's made of, and it is true. What did my boy Kurt Angle say? It's damn true. Pass me the milk and shut up, because I think it's time we get the show started. So,
yeah, just real quick, because I always screw this up, and I want to make Volume 2, Season 2. I want to make whatever the hell this is called.
Chapter 2, Episode 1.
Chapter 2. I want
He doesn't want to screw something up while screwing it up.
Yeah, it's the best.
That is on brand.
I referenced little baby Raff. Little baby Raff is a giant Raphael NECA figure that shouldn't
Yes,
be in my hands yet, but I
no,
got
no,
him,
should not.
and he is terrific.
There are many viewers and listeners who are on the pre-sale list for exactly that raft that you have in your loving sweaty palms.
Well, it sucks to suck.
You know what? They can appreciate it through your appreciation because, yes, indeed, you do have the best brother. So, that being said, catch up having been accomplished. One of the things for 2021,
Woo!
one of the best things about it is indeed Chapter 2 of US Comics Cast. But we're doing things a little differently. We're going to have a new segment that we're adding into the mix.
Ooh, baby.
And it is going to be This Week in US Comics, right? We want to make it a point to keep our loving listeners and viewers and followers and family and probably a couple of people that don't like us very much and watch just kind of hoping that we're going to mess up. We want to keep you all in the loop because even though things are not always posted or front and foremost the topics conversation, that doesn't mean that things are not happening behind the scenes. I assure you that they are. So we're going to make it a point every week. We're going to have a little few moments where we appraise you of a particular thing or another that's being worked on in that moment. So if Charlie, if I may, yes, I would like to kick us off with the first one. We are actively, effective immediately, going to be reinstating our Who's Who pages. We've turned the final corner when that last leg. If this was a horse race, there would be urine streaming down our leg because we are pushing our furry noses to that finish line. So we have really, less than a handful. I'm not sure if that's an actual mathematical number, but that's the one we're going with. Less than a handful of characters who have yet to make their debut in any kind. There are even some in licensing development. More information to follow on that. But we have turned that last corner. So I reiterate, you are going to be getting as close to weekly as humanly and John Lee and Charlie and Ellis Lee and Stanley possible. You're going to be getting weekly new characters, new bios, new descriptions, new artwork that you've never seen before. All right. When we close that last page of the Who's Who book, you are literally and figuratively going to be able to get your mitts on said Who's Who book. And that's something else that we'll be doing here on air, is telling you how exactly you can go about getting one of those said books, whether it's in person or whether it's by request and whatnot. So that's something that I've personally been working on quite a bit. It's coming out just lovely, if I do say so myself. But again, the finish line, the light at the end of the tunnel, all that jazz. Pick whichever one you want, whichever works best. It is right there, boys and gals and everything in between. It is right there. You can almost, you could just, like snow on the wind. You can just taste it. Ooh, I love it.
It's I just can't wait. And like, not that this is news. This is not news, so it doesn't count. But we do have a new T-shirt design that got approved today. That
is news. What are you talking about? That shirt is dope.
I'm even more excited to let you guys know I'm going to force my brother to do limited edition T-shirts. So there's going to be more to follow on that too.
This kid,
I have a whole proposal I forgot to read you today.
Customer, man.
Ordered.
Though, I do got to say, there is something special about having a limited edition dope T-shirt.
What is that you're wearing?
Only you can have if you had the forethought to act quickly, much like my Bad Mary Space Girl T-shirt. What? Let me go ahead and.
I heard another rumor about a T-shirt, but we'll really save that.
Yeah, that'll be when we have something to jaw about. So, again, that's all the news that's fit to gossip about in the halls, the mighty halls of US Comics. There's a lot going on, guys. There's a lot we're pushing. 2020 did a real number on everybody, and by everybody that also means organizations like our own. But we're weathering the storm as best we can. We've never went backwards. We've only pressed forward. The only thing that has changed for us at times has been kind of the speed. So things are, normal is one of those terms that really has less meaning than ever. So we're not going to use the word normal. Things, just like the seasons, things are changing. They're evolving constantly, but the direction that we're moving in right now does mean new US Comics content for you guys every single week. And again, the finish line is, God willing, God be good and gracious and kind, especially to me, not so much Charlie. The finish line is in sight. So super excited about that. And that's all I really have to say about US Comics for now.
I like it. You know what I'm really excited about?
Yes.
Starting your timer for the first topic of this lovely show. You know what? I'm not even going to do it. Little baby Raff, get that timer for me, buddy. Sure, pal. You're the greatest. That's how we sound.
That
You guys, if you tune in to the video version of this, anywhere you can see video, you can see me doing a perfect puppet job.
just as bad as you might think it is. Wow. Anyway, so that being said,
here's the press.
Again, we've topic having begun. Look, we have all been under lock and key for the better part of a year at this point. So now we're, the ball has dropped collectively, and some of the stories, unfortunately, they just don't know when to go away. Like, look, we understand you're there. We acknowledge your existence. Some of us like it more than others. But let's turn the page. There's got to be more information out there, right? There's got to be some stuff that I haven't heard about. But no. The damn director's cut of Justice League continues to haunt me like I got drunk as a 12-year-old and somehow foolishly agreed to mess around with a Ouija board, and I didn't say, am I gonna die by the time I'm 27? No. I said, is there treasure buried in the house anywhere? No. Dumb, drunk 12-year-old John must have been like, is there ever gonna be a night of release of the Justice League director's cut ever in my lifetime? And you know what? That stupid question has haunted me ever since. It does not want to go away. So here we are. We have talked literally to death about the director's cut of Justice League. I haven't seen any of it. Charlie, have you seen any of it? Baby Raph, have you seen any? No, and no. Yet the topic of conversation still somehow
news cycle.
It comes back around to this fucking movie. And I'm really starting to get jammed about now. Here's the thing.
I love that it's like bugging you.
Here's the thing. Director's cuts as a species of shit that annoys John.
I know where this is going. Someone saw Coda.
Sometimes, if you're a particularly responsible person and you've got a deathly allergy floating around your system, you'll wear like a little bracelet. Like if you're deathly allergic to nuts, like Charlie, and milk, like Charlie, or shrimp or penicillin, like me. It's a terrible combination. If your shrimp gets moldy, do not send it my way.
It's so good. You just pour.
Both of us should be wearing those bracelets, but we're stupid. But good looking, so it balances out.
That's true.
Add to mine, Charlie. Call the engraver up. Add to my allergy bracelet director's cuts, because I am shitting pancakes at this point. I've been fucked so badly by director's cuts of movies that have no business being retouched. Okay? All right? Thank you. I'm going to blame this on one of the loves of my life, Amazon. I understand Bezos has all the money. Like if we were playing Monopoly, Bezos would be the guy making change out of his personal stockpile of cash in front of him. I get that. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, as a company, as like the artificial AI that will eventually kind of become aware, self-aware.
Huh.
Amazon, I love Amazon. I'm minding my business, sitting on the couch, scratching something, and they're like, "Hey, John, you look bored. Why don't you watch Coda?" I'm like, "Coda? What's this?" It's interesting because the poster kind of looks like Godfather 3, 2. But I do the little reading, and you know what? It did bleep on my radar when it was first released. Like, oh shit, we re-edited. Oh, that's what a shame. After the masterpieces, the undeniable masterpieces, God-given movies, Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, like where you can have fisticuffs with your grandma at church over which is better, 1 or 2. Like this is serious business. And then they had the audacity, the studio had the cojones to fuck with my man over 3 and just not let him, not just give him a blank checkbook, give him as many cameras as he needs, whatever he needs to get it done. They messed with him. They didn't let him make the movie he wanted. Pfft, that's a sin. Yeah, I want to see the recut mass. Clearly, this is going to be a masterwork. It wasn't.
It did not.
It was basically the fucking same.
They didn't manage to completely teach everyone how to
They
act.
did not pull a Boba Fett and get redeemed. All right? They pulled a Jar Jar Binks and they stepped on their own tongue and tripped over themselves entering the room.
Make a
Boy,
bet.
was I pissed. So now I've got that stink. My $4 or whatever it was is a ghost. It's missing.
Ghost.
Now I have to be inundated with more of this fucking Justice League director's cut bullshit. But that all being said, that negativity having run its course, yes,
Let a positive point.
Let the hate flow through you. I've got lightning shooting out of my fingertips and orifices. But now I see that the issue is, well, look, guys, you're gonna love it, but I got news for you. It's a cul-de-sac.
This is the dumbest.
It can't go on. It's not going to continue.
Dumbest. Why on God's green earth would they announce that regardless of reception, the Justice League miniseries reimagining director's cut, it's nope, doesn't count. So you're gonna keep, just to clarify for the lovely listeners and watchers, the Snyder cut of Justice League, no matter what, doesn't count. So future movies will not build off of the Snyder universe. There's
like it
for Snyder
love it,
back.
leave it.
The next fucking Justice League movie will be will follow up the first abomination that was the shitty Justice League we got.
Now, they can't even decide like who the definitive actors portraying particular like who's Batman right now. Who's Batman?
Well,
we've got more Batmen than there are actual like bats hanging from a cave around the corner. Like there's no like there has been no term. I've heard like, oh yeah, Affleck is the Bat. No, he's not. Keaton is the guy. No, he isn't. So and also friggin' they're doing their very best to kill Pattinson on the set of the current Batman movie that's filming. God knows what continuity that exists in.
They've made a very big point of like the Robert Pattinson movies in its own universe.
Sure. But basically all of them are, which I'm kind of okay with. They've established, like they've kind of created this reality for us as fans. The second that they had characters being portrayed on TV and on the big screen independently, right? So now both DC and Marvel have a workaround for it. Fine, that's entirely fine. I am very forgiving. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. I have no problem with you juggling properties, especially when they're yours. Hey, juggle them. Play a little pocket pool. If you got them, juggle them. Why not? Now, what really stuck out to me is I'm not precisely sure where it was. Well, Kev Smith actually made it a point to be like, that shit ain't true anyway. Like Kevin Smith is the ultimate. I know a guy who told me this guy,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, Kevin Smith says, no, he didn't. He said this other dude said it. So we're at this point now where you kind of have to be careful what you listen to, like what you accept. Fake news all over town. What has struck out, what really stuck in my proverbial craw is it's a fucking lie, Charlie. It's not true. Because here's the thing, and they've yeah. How do I do this?
I don't know.
We've all been in that place in our lives where we said, you know what? I'm taking off tomorrow. I'm fucking calling in sick tomorrow. Fuck this place. If anybody from work is listening, I don't mean you guys. I mean like before.
If anyone from my work is listening, I fucking hate you guys.
So, but we've all had that day at work where like I am taking a fucking sick day tomorrow, right? You start planning that shit like a caper. You get the blue plans out, right? You start like, okay, get the bag of coins, gonna swing it over my head. Fuck LaFleur's. Like you're gonna work it out. You're planning it out. So how do you do that? Right around noontime, like, oh, what's up, Steve? No, I'm not feeling too good, man. Maybe something I ate. I'm gonna have a seat. Like you start laying down the groundwork for your calling in sick the next day. That's if you're smart, or if you're me or Charlie.
I've never called out sick.
No, we'll edit that. That's fine. That's fine. So, in that exact same vein, they are doing this like cul-de-sac. This is where it ends. Blah blah blah. But for a fucking fact, if that movie is a critical darling, if the fans gobble it up like leftovers on the morning after Thanksgiving, they absolutely will continue the story, but it won't be on the big screen, Charlie. Where will it be?
HBO Max.
No, it's going to be in comic books.
Oh.
Comic books. That's where all of this content came from. And in the fucking style of every fan-loved content that for whatever reason doesn't have the wherewithal to justify big budget on-screen continuations, you're going to get it in comic book format. Charlie, I got to ask you, how many movie properties that you love picked up after the end credits of the movie in comic book form?
All of them?
I'm saying, like, off the top of my head, Fight Club continued in, and that could have easily just been in regular book form because that's how it originated. But Fight Club, we got Fight Club 2 and 3 very recently. Fucking, we talked about it right here. Boondock Saints, maybe the most troubled production, the worst timing of any Boston beer swilling movie that's ever existed. They could not have possibly released at a worse time or tried to release at a worse time. So what did they do? We did get 2. But then they went ahead and they continued on in comic book form. This is tried and true. I mean, how many movies have further life in comic books? I cut you off. What'd you say?
No, it's even the RoboCop reboot, the weird black suit, human hand. He had a few issues,
dude. If you're gonna hand Frank Miller RoboCop, guess what? You're gonna get it in a fucking comic book. Look, and this is probably the best example of it that I can think of. An entire movie franchise was birthed out of the comic book, kind of like, oh, you know what will be fun? Alien versus Predator only existed on the big screen for good or bad because of the success that it had in comic book format after both of those franchises, as far as they knew, closed the doors. That they didn't know at that time that they were going to keep on going until everything kind of like dropped off the vine. Army of Darkness had awesome comic book life after death on the movie screen. Fucking Buffy.
Yeah.
The Buffy comic book was debatably even better than the show.
I mean, look at the run, the comic run, Ghostbusters.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna go directly there. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, especially if you're playing with Charlie's girlfriend, because she takes no prisoners in Monopoly. Trust me.
Fuck. Even properties that started as comics, went to movies, came back to piggyback off the movies in comic book form. It's almost a no-brainer.
Fuck yeah.
It just
some of my favorite Indiana Jones stories are from the Indiana Jones comic books. You weren't gonna look. Harrison Ford, he was grumpy as a motherfucker before he get his hands on some weed. He was not gonna make 52 Indiana Jones stories, no matter how much I begged and pleaded.
Yeah. Not every franchise can be James Bond. Not every franchise is like, we're doing it forever.
Well, like, you know what, and we talk about him plenty because he's a great inspiration to both of us. But Kevin Smith wasn't going to make a Blunt Man and Chronic movie. He wasn't going to make Chasing Dogma a movie. Walt Flanagan's dog wasn't going to get screen time. Like sometimes it just makes more sense. It's a shorter timeline, and you know what though, when you really hit a home run. And when it strikes a chord, you know what? Say, hey, look at all this fucking success that we've had. Let's indeed take it back up to the big screen. Or, nowadays we have all these other options, streaming, blah, 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 whatever the case might be. But that being said, my point is Justice League, the Snyder, the Justice League director's cut story that was begun foolhardily, in my own personal opinion. I think he really missed the take on a lot of the characters, but that's a conversation for another day or show. We absolutely are going to get a continuation of the Collie. What happened next? We're gonna get it. We're just gonna get it in comic books,
which is be hard to see.
Maybe where it belongs.
Is it going to be hard as fuck to see because everything's black?
Maybe.
We all.
Like, how many tones of fucking black do you want us to print this in, dude?
Why didn't they just let him do a Batman movie? That's clearly all he wanted. He's like, oh, but Wonder Woman's there, but she's like dark and brutal. And Cyborg's there, but he's dark and brutal. And Flash is there, and he's a little autistic, but also dark and brutal.
They're like, Flash, you literally get the only somewhat comical lines this movie's even going to think about. No pressure.
No pressure at all. And we have to use a stand-in for Wonder Woman. We want this dumb sex joke. Get the fuck out of here. With that being said,
terrible.
The people who are excited,
I'm excited. God bless you.
I'm also going to be watching it.
Yeah, they know they have our money.
I got nothing to do. That thing is going to do amazing numbers. It's no different, and this is definitely a topic for a different day. All you people who spent so much time and energy shitting on Wonder Woman 2, get your shiny boots on, because Wonder Woman 3 is coming. It was a massive success.
The quickness is coming too.
Any metric. And shut up, because that's how it works. Shut your mouths, you nerds. And the thing I love about what's happening with the Snyder Cut, though, and Robert Pattinson's Batman movie, which I'm excited for, and this like brand new slate of like weird DC properties are gonna go to HBO Max. So like some characters that maybe they wouldn't be brave enough to bring to the big screen are gonna get their kind of time in the light. And it could maybe be riskier, and maybe you let the directors and writers, write and direct without weeks and shit of interference.
Woo! Perfect timing, because it wasn't me that got cut off. Woo!
Son of a bitch.
You know it. You know what that sound means. It means one thing and one thing only, and that it is time to pay them bills. Because the fact of the matter is that we couldn't do this without certain things. We couldn't do this, obviously, without Charlie. That's what he keeps on telling me. We couldn't do it without our viewers and listeners, but we damn sure couldn't do it without our sponsors. So, that being said, and credit where credit's due, one of our sponsors. Actually, you know what, Charlie? Why don't you tell them about our sponsors?
Oh, I'm gonna, because you're wearing their limited edition t-shirt that's no longer available. I have their very available patch on my shirt. And that is the absolute incredible Bad Mary. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Insta. They make the song you hear at the top of the show. You're going to hear another song of theirs at the bottom of the show. They can be found on all that social media at Bad Mary Band. You can find them on their website, badmary.com. You can go and financially support them by going to patreon.com/Bad Mary. And here's the best part. You want to listen to their tunes right now? Well, Bad Mary is available on all music streaming services.
Damn straight. Damn straight.
Too sweet.
Our other sponsor right here on Facebook Gaming, it's Sergeant Finesse. 2 streams a day, outstanding gaming content, supporter streams, giveaways, contests. Just do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Do not be a sucker. He does not like it. Check him out today. Throw him a like, a follow. Consider becoming a supporter yourself. If you need to pick me up, follow the White Rabbit. I've been doing it all show, and clearly it works. Go over to sneakenergy.com. Use code SGT at checkout. If you're looking for some fresh new threads, like not necessarily my Bad Mary t-shirt, but his Sergeant Finesse shirts, go to geeksunleashed.com. They even have yoga pants, which his followers are desperate to see him in a pair of. I don't know why. Use code Sarge there at checkout. When the Sarge is on deck, salute to Jeezy, son, because that is what you say for streamers. I learned that. I learned it. Actually, and another sponsor, not necessarily, but friends of the show, I want to go ahead and plug. Friend and co-worker for here at US Comics, Jordan Hugh, as well as Bad Mary's own Mike Staub, have their own podcast that is being birthed to life this coming Friday. How about this podcast? You can find it wherever you get your podcast. Again, it's published to go live this Friday. Look, we know them. We love them. Those are 2 of the most talented, funniest, well-informed dudes that they make. Like, you go to the store, you're like, can I get a Jordan Hugh? What size? Give me a small, because I like to feel kind of big. It's like, no, sorry, we only made one. He's already out. Oh, can I get a Mike Staub? He's like real musical, luscious golden locks. They're like, nah, sorry, that one's gone too. You don't want to miss the rush. Go out and get your Jordan or Mike. You can get them at How About This Podcast starting this Friday and then every Friday for the foreseeable future.
I heard that they have some very, very handsome guests lined up.
Damn sure. Handsome and hairy.
John, do me a favor and start my timer.
I'll go ahead and start it now.
So I had to look back at the dumpster fire that was 2020, and there are some notable moments of pure joy. I feel like what 2020 did for me, I don't know if you feel the same way, is it turned my volume all the way up. I felt things a lot stronger, both good and a ton of bad, unfortunately. But I wanted to focus on my top 10 things that made me filled with joy feelings in the year of our Lord 2020. And I wanted to know how you felt about it. But because I'm a dirty cheat, I could not break it down to just 10. There were too many fighting.
What are your top 242 things?
I cut it down to 12. I thought 12 was fair. And I wanted to know how you felt about it. See if you felt as in love with this stuff as I do. I mean, this is hundreds of hours of entertainment. So strap in. We're going to start off. I have a little bit of a visual aid for some of this. We're going to start off. This is in vague order, but understand my order has changed 4 billion times. up to and including the moment we started recording. But coming in at number 10, at number 12 of Charlie's top 10, The Queen's Gambit. The Queen's Gambit on Netflix was absolutely something I did not expect. I could give a fuck less about chess. You beat the hell out of me.
I did, yeah.
January 1st.
I didn't even feel bad about it.
You did not. You, in fact, showed me 100 ways that you were also a bad player, but you just wanted me to feel even worse about the whooping you got. Visually, I thought this show was stunning. I took real personal offense to people being like, well, did they need the scene where she was drunk dancing in her underwear? Shut up. Shut up. They wanted the scene. The scene there. Stop pooing on my happy, you pieces of trash.
Just stink. People stink.
People do stink. How do you feel about Queen's Gambit? Would it have made your top 12?
100% it would have. It's kind of tough for me to instantly rank them, but it absolutely would have appeared there. I mean, for me personally, I've been a chess lover for many, many years, but it was one of those things where like, oh yeah, that's right. I love chess. To the point where like I reactivated my chess.com account and things like that, kind of dusted off the sets. Just an outstanding movie. Now, what's really interesting as a storyteller for me watching this was another example of how you can tell empowering stories. Now, this happens to this is not based on any kind of historical person. This is a completely fictional story. Right. So they made it a point where they put it in a particular period of time where, it apparently word on the street was it was not the easiest time to be a woman. Right. So watching this and not having any historical background to where the story is going to go, every time her character was in somewhat of a precarious position, we're like, oh, that guy's sketchy. Oh, be careful. Like every time you thought she was in real danger because of a male character, she wasn't. And sometimes when she was in potentially a dangerous scenario, she intentionally put herself there knowing that it could be a potential issue for her. Like characters told her, be careful this. She's like, yeah, okay, don't worry about it. I got it. You also told me not to move my rook to knight 4, but I fucking had that work out pretty good. So they made it a point where they told a very interesting story, a very satisfying ending to the story, which to me is sometimes the most important thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, are we going to finish that last bite and be like, not like have it be awesome in that last bite, like bite you back. They made it a point that when she was in the situations, her biggest, spoiler alert, her biggest threat to her kind of like well-being was her.
Yeah.
Right. So they showed like the reality of the time, even though it's a fictional character, fictional situation. And they said like, look, this is where could have gone very, very bad. Now for this particular character, it didn't.
Yeah. You would have.
That's not what the story's about.
You would have been burned. I got 11 more of these, so I'm going to cut you off.
Do it.
That would have worked as a like, yeah, I liked it. But thanks for thanks for the lesson in
Check.
the episode 1 review. Fucking guy. Coming in at number 11, we got Umbrella Academy season 2. It is hard for a second season,
Second son.
You come out all chubby and oddly pale, but also tan. I don't know how that works. Umbrella Academy season 2 somehow managed to give me nothing I asked for, and it was always better. The way that this superhero story speaks to human beings and the human condition and our wants and the complexities of things like love, and then managed to be like the old timey times weren't great for women or black people, but especially not black women, even if you have dope superpowers. The show at every turn,
Hispanic guys,
just
gorilla arm guys,
the show wound up being
gay guys, dead Asians.
Yeah, it's just poor dead Asian guy just trying to get laid. Just rude. I mean, I personally thought the Allison story was really, really special to me because this is someone who's like, I'm done. I don't want to be involved. Oh, there's some shit I need to be involved in. It meant a lot to me in a weird way. Briefly, John, how did you feel about it?
Charlie, I liked it.
I hate you so much. Moving on to the first official one because I had to talk about Queen's Gambit, had to talk about Umbrella Academy because I couldn't not have in my top 10 What We Do in the Shadows season 2. Managed to once again, just like Umbrella Academy, even more so, jump over season 1. And this show is based on a beloved cult movie. Season 2 was amazing. It's such a human story. What We Do in the Shadows is this over-the-top, occasionally gross-out humor comedy show on FX that's really about like loving your family and the family you build, not being the family you had. And I know how douchey and pretentious I sound saying that. Like, that's not lost on me. Tough shit. I don't know what to tell you. It fucking rules. It rules. Now you hit me to this.
Not you, Guillermo. I love this show. This is one of the shows that if it comes up in conversation, I light up. If the person that I'm talking to also has seen it, I could go on all day about it, regardless of how much time is left on his topic. If the person hasn't seen it, I am instantly offended by their very existence. And I insist that they go and do not talk to me again until they have absorbed every minute of what they do in the shadows, content that's out there. I love it. The guest stars, show can never be weighed by its guest stars. Like that's people say it all the time, and rightfully so. Like, that's a cheap out. When a guest star appears on the show, it only makes it fucking better because it's their interaction with that particular person. Like this season, we got Nick Kroll back again. We got Mark Hamill for the first time.
Yes.
It is just, just a pointy tooth. As a guy who's been a vampire on more than one occasion, back.
Dude, what was it, Jackie Daytona? When he becomes a bartender, that if you haven't seen it, it's a quick watch.
Jackie Daytona, human bartender.
Charlie Rivera, human podcaster, will be my next intro. So help me God. Moving on, when I needed it most, when I was depressed because of everything that was 2020. What We Do in the Shadows really did make me laugh, but simultaneously making me laugh and really warming up my heart was an Apple Plus show called Ted Lasso. Have you watched this yet, John?
I have not.
Dude, this Ted Lasso, first of all, it's a comedian we both love, but the character he's playing would make Leslie Knope look like a host of USComicsCast.
Leslie, I'm so sorry.
This is so Jason Sudeikis stars and created this character Ted Lasso, and he's put in charge of a Premier League, of a football club or soccer if you're heathens like us. And this fucking guy, I'll without spoiling any of it, because I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it, because who the fuck has Apple Plus? There's a scene where he turns to ask the team for like a bonding exercise. Do they want to have a movie night or a pillow fight? And they're all like, fucking a movie night. He goes, all right, but the one time you say pillow fight, you'll never go back. And he's never the butt of the joke, which I appreciate so much, because it's so easy to write that character as like a total dipshit.
Fish out of water.
It's like it's a fish out of water meets just jackass. Like when someone's that positive, it's very easy for them to look like a schmuck, and he never really does. He
Fair.
just makes you want to be a better person. You cannot watch a couple episodes of Ted Lasso and not want to be a better human.
Even me?
Especially you, sir. I forced it onto this list.
I don't know, man. I have a pretty high opinion of myself.
When I was making this list, one of the problems was I didn't want to just do comics or movies or TV show. I wanted it to be everything. And last year or 2 years ago, I borrowed my friend's PlayStation to play Spider-Man. And it wasn't Miles Morales that made me borrow my friend's PlayStation again. Instead, it was a game I fully wasn't expecting, and that's Ghost of Tsushima. This game, John, is a game you must find time.
Yeah, I've played it. It's like playing a painting.
It is
It's
art.
gorgeous.
Really
gorgeous.
I have really strong negative opinions about everything, including games. I'm not even going to poo-poo the game that everyone says is the game of the year, because I just truly believe when it comes to video games, some things are undeniable. And anyone who looks at a minute of this game, if you're playing this game and someone's walking by the television, they're going to stop and stare like it's a painting in a museum. The way that they use the wind in this game to direct you in the right direction, as opposed to a mini map or
arrows on the ground.
The game is beautiful. There's a theme here for my 2020 list. It also speaks to forging a destiny that you're proud of.
Mm-hmm.
It is a game that affected me emotionally. Now, Spider-Man was fun to play. Miles Morales is an amazing game, which I highly recommend to play. Ghost of Tsushima lives with me the same way some films do.
That's awesome.
Books do. I gotta
get back to it a little bit, because you know how it is. You get sidetracked, and for me, it wasn't like something to like. I needed to get either inspired to pick up the sticks for it again, or to get the momentum going into it, because it was just so highly recommended. I'm like, oh, all right, let me see what we got.
Yeah, it's so worth it, and kind of the further you fall into it, the more you get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is really just something special.
Nice.
Something else special. It was probably, and again, it's weird because there's another movie on the list that I rank higher. The Trial of the Chicago 7 might be my favorite film of the year. Aaron Sorkin, this is his second directorial effort. Man, if you haven't checked this out on Netflix, I don't even know what you're doing. The political subtext, the way that it speaks to kind of young people.
Oh, it is broad strokes. It's not subtext. It's like it's out there.
That's a very good point. It's crazy, and it for those of you that don't know the story, it is one of those things that you can go into this movie. I guarantee you're going to finish watching this film. You're probably going to push a tear away from your cheek, and you're immediately going to hop on and Google search this tremendous story. The thing that comes to mind is the whole world is watching. This is not only a chant from the movie, it's the movie again. It steered me back on course in a time where I needed it, in a time where I needed a fictionalized version of reality to give me the energy I needed to kind of push forward. It really is. It's a remarkable.
Well, it accomplishes so much. That's it. Like, Sorkin's mostly known for his television and kind of theater work. And in television, you've got like a large canvas. You've got a lot of hours to tell your overall story, as opposed to movies where you have a finite amount of encapsulated period of time that you can get it done, so to speak. And then on one hand, you have the historical responsibility to get it right, because this is not something that you just like dreamed up sitting in the bathtub to make a point. No, this is shit that really happened. These are real people, and these are also like not casual throwaway names. These are legendary Americans that you're talking about. So you have a very, very much a responsibility to get that shit right. But on the same token, this isn't a History Channel production.
Yeah.
That would be Vikings. No, this is something that's like designed to entertain. It's storytelling. But like we talk about here in the capacity of US Comics all the time, comic books, movies, TV, whatever the case might be, like, tell me the story, fine. But you can tell me the story how you got a flat tire going to the flea market. That's a story too. Like, if you're going to tell me a story and it's big budget and it's all these talent collected in the same room, why are you telling me that story? Why is it important? So you cannot step away from this movie, from this story, without knowing why it's important. And I love that you love this. I loved it too. But I can't, knowing who is involved, I'm like, I'm going to love this.
Yeah.
Start. I'm glad that you really had that experience.
I was having a rough day. I needed something to watch. I didn't care what. It popped up as like the first thing, and I was like, who, yeah, whatever. I was stuck in a personal vacuum, to the point where I was kind of ignoring the outside world a bit, and it was a very interesting watch in that headspace. And since then, I've watched it a couple times. And I just, it's just a brilliant piece of, it's
awesome.
A brilliant piece of art. I really did love it.
Good.
Something else I loved for a way different reason. AEW this year has proved to be this amazing thing. Technically, it came out in 2019. They celebrated their 1-year anniversary kind of in the year.
Slide forward, because like I feel like there's no visual aid.
No, there is, but it's a little bit different because it's not just AEW. As much as that was important to me, it was a very specific episode of their television, and that was the celebration of life for the recently passed Brody Lee. This happened right before the new year, this episode, on December 30th. Yeah. And the holidays are an emotional time for my family. And it was very interesting to see so much reverence paid for someone who was certainly a main event talent, was an awesome character in both WWE and then more recently in AEW. But to see a whole show dedicated to him and his family, God bless Brody Lee, God bless his family, and God bless AEW and the owner, Tony Khan, for putting aside what they was probably best for business and focusing 2 hours on a remarkable man without
the right thing to do.
And it was without being like a clip show. It wasn't, there was very little Brody Lee shown. Instead, you felt him for every minute of that 2 hours. And, the last tribute show I remember affecting me was when Eddie Guerrero passed. And as good as that tribute was, this was a masterstroke in how to honor a person who meant a lot to seemingly everyone.
Yeah, the industry really came out for him, which was awesome to see.
It was something else. I don't want to harp on it too much as my time winds down, but if you can, check it out. It is available on the TV app. You can watch old episodes. It is a beautiful thing. I'm going to go through these kind of quick. The Boys season 2, again, proving that you can really, really take something that I don't necessarily. The Boys comic is great. It's very negative. I think hands down the show is doing a better job than the comic did at telling its stories.
Really?
I do. I do. Season 2 kind of solidified that feeling for me, where it's just, if it comes between reading the books or watching the show, I'd rather watch the show.
No, I don't mean it in like a puncher versus pugilist type way. I think they're both magnificent, for what they are, but I don't think that they're particularly negative. I think it's a mirror, right? Artwork is a mirror. Artwork is a mirror that we hold up and we see ourselves. No way. Someone's got to check that game clock. I don't know about that. Run through them though, Charlie. Run through them.
Yeah. Just real lightning fast. When I needed it, a movie that I was always gonna love. It would be very hard to not make me love it, but then wound up being so much more meaningful in 2020. Bill and Ted Face the Music was next level for me. To the point where I bought you a copy.
You did.
It was one of the first. It was supposed to be theatrical. They were like, if you want it, you could just buy it. And buy it I did. Then I bought it for my brother. I could have shared my code like we've done a billion times with a billion movies.
No, we haven't.
But
we haven't.
He said. Bill and Ted Face the Music was a hug I needed, and the universe gave it to me. And when I'm feeling blue, I can pop it on in the background. And if I look up, I'm probably going to be smiling. And it's another one of these stories that, like, there's this real beautiful understory of Ted feels lost.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like himself. He's trying to maybe fit in where he doesn't belong. So there's a theme of the movie where it's him finding himself, which fucking it's Keanu Reeves. I'm always going to be there for that.
A lot of heart.
Coming in as my number 3 greatest thing I set eyes to, and that is the Daredevil run that is currently going on. I've spoken about this comic before. This Chip Zdarsky, I'm pretty sure I butchered that. Chip Zdarsky, yeah. Marco Cicchetto, Mike Hawthorne, Francis Mobili, Georgie Fornes, Marco Menez, Mattia Iasion, Nolan Woodward, and Clayton Cowles put together this master. This run of Daredevil might be the best run of Daredevil of all time.
Really?
Right now in
bold words from a bold man.
All these people talking about what they love or hate, and comics aren't comics anymore. And I wish there was if you're not reading this comic book, sit down. You cannot be involved in the conversation if you're not reading this this book. Coming in at number 2 with a bullet is Blue in Green.
Really?
Now I've done a real
I'm shocked that this is making an appearance.
You've read
on your list.
You've read?
I have indeed. And well, it's a off-camera topic because we're up against the clock. But yeah, it came to me in an interesting way.
Yeah, Blue and Green. I watched Disney Soul. Spoke very highly of it to you, as I was doing with a lot of people. And a buddy of mine dropped off a copy of Blue and Green for me to read. This is about a jazz musician who sells his soul to be the best. What's amazing about this book, specifically the art, it goes from kind of that traditional 9 box into a real free-flowing, jazzy visual to go along with this story. It is again, I feel like I'm so boring because I keep saying like these are masterworks, but 2020 just kept giving and giving and giving in the art world. Ram V and Anand RK and Aditya Bidakar, I apologize a million times. They made a comic book about jazz, John, that I couldn't put down.
You know, so it's really interesting. Did this come to you before our conversation regarding the documentary that I was talking about?
No, it came after.
It came after. So like, isn't it interesting how like those parallels are right there?
Not only that, John, you gave me a soundtrack for the book. And I don't know if you want to name drop them. I don't have it in front of me, but John hit me to a jazz musician, or maybe the real godfather of what jazz means right now.
Well, not so much jazz, but blues.
Blues.
Now, what's interesting, and again, I don't want to take away. I know we're on overtime as it is, but
they missed us.
This comic is also like some of the best things are like a combination of 2 tastes that you love or that you would love if you came across them independently. So Robert Johnson is considered by many people the absolute like godfather of the blues, and the blues kind of segued into rock and roll, like the very earliest rock and roll. And Robert Johnson has it's like a legendary and something that he leaned into for his career, like the Devil at the Crossroads, Faustian type of story. But then also, as well as, you have Miles Davis, and Miles Davis, jazz wise, is like, you don't get better than Miles Davis, right? And then also, so you have this comic book that now actually shares the name with a Miles Davis album, right? Blue and Green is the name of an album. He's playing, and yeah, again, nothing is exactly the same, but everything is like adjacent to something. So that's where the inspiration is almost always independently greater than what it has inspired, but that new thing would never exist otherwise. And it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Again, we'll go into it separately, but this came to my attention from a source that you never in a million years would have thought, but I also love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, if you liked soul, you'll love this. If you love comics,
if you love jazz, you'll love it. If you love artwork, you'll love it.
It's again, it is.
I'm so happy you found this.
Me too. It really wound up filling it. Every now and then there are stories that, and I've kind of, in this list of 12, there's 5 or 6 that really have affected my soul. This probably affected it the most. It really is. It is awesome. Amazing when something, and the conversation we had about this famous musician and the soundtrack that you in essence provided me to my dream way of reading.
Robert Johnson, man. If anyone is familiar with his music, well, first, mostly you're not unfamiliar with music because he has inspired so many artists. But like, you have heard Robert Johnson. If you've ever watched Blues Brothers, you've heard Robert Johnson music, just not by him.
Yeah, it's something else. And
also Miles Davis, like, literally made the world go round for decades and decades. If you don't know Miles Davis, if you don't own multiple iterations of Miles Davis music, shame on you. Rectify that shit.
There are some things that when you're I'll give you, if you're under 30, when you're in your 30s, there's certain things that should be part of your life.
No,
even if you sure putting it down, pick 30. It up first. Coming in at number 1, we don't need to talk about it. Mandalorian season 2 was my everything. Again, we've said all we need to say about it. It's actually the safety net I thought I had to avoid going into overtime, but I was wrong. For my brother, just look at him. Look at them beefy shoulders. Look at that ever-thinning waist. Just looking strong. He is the co-founder. He is the COO of US Comics. I'm sorry, he is the CEO of US Comics because I'm the COO. Because I'm the COO of US Comics. You can find us on every bit of social media at US Comics HQ. So you can find our website at uscomicshq.com. We're on the YouTube. We're on all of that stuff. US Comics HQ. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. If you're watching the video version on Facebook, make sure you give it a like. Make sure you give it a share. I cannot tell you the difference it makes. We are trying to be on someone else's list of a thing that affects their soul. US Comics will be the sum total of what John and I have desperately wanted to say for a long time. But we just said a whole bunch over the last chunk of time. There's a tradition of how we end these shows, John. So why don't you tell them, how do we end USComicsCast?
Look, if you're not sure at this point, do yourself a favor, do us a favor, write it down, take a look at it. As soon as the lights go down, you got to turn the power on. You got to turn the volume up. You got to tune Bad Mary in. You got to open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky, "Save me, space girl! We out."